Hello, it's Monday 11th of October and just out here give you a bit of a course update. It's a beautiful day today. We've got a really nice couple of weeks of settled weather hopefully. Course is looking lovely. Here I am on 10, just panning across. You can see the greens in really nice shape again. We did have a bit of anthracnose disease coming through. This has been sorted out by a granular feed that we've put on, so the greens look really healthy and strong again now, with the exception of the issue we've just had. And the issue we've just had is well, what I've described as a catastrophic oil leak at the weekend on Saturday morning. I'm going to show you the damage, show you how and why that's happened. Real shame. So what started as a small drip on the third green, we then move across to the fourth, which is the way the boys go around mowing the greens on Saturday morning. And here on the fourth you can see the leak's getting worse, and you can see there you're starting to get a line of oil on the turf. The fourth isn't too bad, it's just fits and starts really, but that's where it starts to show a little bit more. So I'm going to head over to 15, which is the next green that we cut in our route around the course, and there it starts to get even worse. And the reason that the boys don't pick this sort of stuff up is when you get a leak on a mower like this, hydraulic oil leak, depending on where it is on the mower, it's very difficult to see. And in actual fact, at this time of year, for a couple of reasons, the boys are starting earlier than we would like really, so they're starting to mow in the dark. It's the only way they'll get round before golf, and although I'll be accused of being biased again here, the booking system helped us before because we knew where people were and where they were starting, and we don't anymore, so we expect the course to be busy off 1, 2, sometimes 3 starting points on a Saturday morning. So the boys are in early in the dark, and they're not always going to see problems. And in this particular instance, the problem on the mower, the hydraulic burst, was a pipe directly off the main motor, right under the seat. Not something you're ever going to see. It's almost behind you as you mow, and you can see here on 15 it's starting to get a little bit worse. And unfortunately all of this that I'm showing you now is just going to die. Where he's finishing on 15, it's just coming off, and you can see he's got a turn there, and you can see the oil is building all the time. In that approach you can see the turn, quite dramatic, and as I say, all that is unfortunately going to die on us. So there's lots of myths about hydraulic oil leaks on greens, what kills the grass, what doesn't kill the grass. The heat of the oil is the first problem, but it wouldn't matter if the oil was cold. In actual fact, studies have shown that even the cold oil in the green will eventually kill the grass anyway, and it prevents new seed germination as well. The seedlings can't grow in oil, as you won't be surprised to hear. So what we've got to do next is try and remove as much oil from the surface of the green as possible, and then reseed, overseed and top dress to try and mitigate the leak that we've just had. We'll do that by heavily scarifying and then microholotining in the next day or two, which is going to be a little bit disruptive to golf, but it's necessary to get this oil up. What we don't want is to try and wash the oil away, because what you actually do is spread it out and wash it into the soil, so that'll just make the problem worse. So we'll try and get the oil removed from the surface by scarifying heavily. They're going to look quite brutal once we've done this work. We'll try and get as much of the oil and off the surface as we possibly can, and then get some seed in the ground. As I say, it's a real shame. There's nothing anyone can really do about this sort of thing when it happens. You get mowers of an age, you get wearing parts, you just can't see what's going on a lot of the time. And this is just a burst pipe, as I say, underneath and almost behind the operator who was on. and what we've got is sort of oil starting to show in various places. So I'm just wandered over to 17 now, and this is one of the worst greens, and at this time of day with the sun high and the ground nice and dry, it doesn't look as bad as it actually is, but as the time goes on, all of these marks here, all the oil is just going to kill the grass, and we'll end up with brown marks everywhere from that. Real shame. Here you can see the lines. It's just progressively got worse, this leak, as it's gone on. The mower's probably dropped about 6 to 8 litres of oil in total over 7 greens and on the collars, and as I say, it came off directly off the motor. Really difficult to see, particularly when you're working by headlights in the morning. And these are some of the worst areas here on 17, and it's going to be a real challenge to try and get this lot out of the ground. We'll take as much out as we can with scarifying, and then we'll try and reseed and hopefully see some recovery. But hopefully the camera's picking up there the different shade of the grass now in the sunshine. That's just going to keep turning until it eventually is all brown. So the worst of the problems here on 17, moving then on to 13, and then the boys went on from 11 to 16, and it was on 16 as the daylight broke a little bit more that they spotted the problem and stopped using the machine, got it back to the sheds. Actually the oil pressure would have dropped a little bit by then, so 16 isn't as bad as you'd expect. It got worse, and then not quite as bad for the last couple of greens that were done because the oil pressure dropped in the machine slightly. Unfortunately not enough to make a difference to the use of the machine that anyone could notice, but it made enough of a difference that there's a little bit less oil on the ground on 16. So as I say, we'll start the recovery work tomorrow, scarifying, hollow coring, trying to remove as much of the oil from the surface as we possibly can. As I said, it hasn't been washed in, there's no rainfall, we've switched all the irrigation off for obvious reasons, so as not to spread the oil. So we'll try and remove as much as possible, then get some seed and soil in the ground, sand seed mixture in the ground, and hopefully see some recovery before winter. But this is going to be a bit of an unsightly problem for some time, I'm afraid. Shouldn't affect the ball roll too much, but gutted, really gutted that something like this has happened. So just moving on from that, bad news about the greens. The drained greens that we've got out here, the 6 greens that we drained, coming on really nicely. So what we're doing with those now is we're just top dressing the lines with a little bit of extra seed when necessary. Again, the rainfall this year has been challenging, and it's washed out these lines a few times and kept them low, but we've got a really good forecast at the moment for the next couple of weeks. Hopefully we'll get a little bit more dressing, a little bit more growth into those, and see the recovery continue. But they've been playing quite nicely. Feedback's generally been quite good considering the work we've done. And you'll see there's a few stripes back out on the fairways now. This is due to staff, really. So we were a couple of members of staff short, and you'll have all seen the news, James's announcement. He's decided to step into a senior greenkeeper role, but we've also recruited a new member of the team. Michael has joined us. More about that another time, but Michael will join us. He's started last week, so this is his 2nd week. He's doing a great job so far. So a big welcome to Michael. I'm sure if you see him out here, you'll make him welcome. He's got over a decade in greenkeeping, so I'm sure he'll settle in quite nicely and become a real asset to us. So we're just looking for a head greenkeeper at the moment, which we've just started the recruitment process, but I'd expect that to take 2-3 months at least to complete. So at the moment, daily I'm back out on the course every morning with the boys, keeping things moving along in the right direction. And the next update, hopefully, we'll give you a bit of information about planned winter work coming up. There won't be too much disruption. We're going to focus on finishing off and polishing up some of the place where we've neglected it due to staff shortages in the last sort of 12-18 months. The drainage work on the greens, as you know, was all completed. We've finished the outlet drains now on all but the 15th, with the help of the volunteers that are coming back hopefully next week. We'll finish the 15th off next week. Forecast looks nice for that. So at the moment we're focusing on the tiger rough while it's nice and dry, but next week we'll get back onto the outlet drain for that 15th. It's a bit wet behind that green where the green's draining off behind the green towards the 16th tee there, but that'll all be dealt with next week. And finally, speaking about volunteers, we've got a divot evening on Wednesday at 4 p.m. You're welcome to come along, put your name down online, click the link on the emails you've been receiving, or you can write your name down in the bar. Just for catering purposes, we'll feed and water you as part of the arrangement. You can give us a couple of hours of your time. It's normally a great social event, this as well, and really makes a difference for the course. So hope to see many of you out on Wednesday, 4 p.m. And on that note, just final thing is the course is closed from 2 p.m. to allow that to happen, so no play after 2 p.m. on Wednesday.